Hello and welcome everybody. Today let's answer the question, why didn't Doctor Strange use the Time Stone on Tony just like Thanos did it on Vision? After all, in Doctor Strange movie, we saw Doctor Strange save the city of Hong Kong by reversing time and in doing so undoing the deaths of hundreds of people if not thousands. Well, the most obvious answer is that RDJ had to retire, so the writers gave him a fitting goodbye. Tony's sacrifice to save the universe with a snap is definitely one of the most badass moments in the MCU. The man who had started it all indeed required such a momentous farewell. But that aside, from a story's point of view, things should be consistent too, isn't it? Otherwise, it just feels convenient and substandard. So let's try to answer this question once and for all. But before we get started, if you enjoy Marvel and superheroes content, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
I am Iron Man.
Why didn't Avengers use the Infinity Stones to bring back Tony before they returned it to various moments in the past? As it turns out, the writers of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame were asked the very same question, and this is what they said. Infinity Stones have their limits too, and they can't bring back dead people who were not killed by the stones. So if that's true, then Infinity Stones, which are some of the most powerful artifacts in the known Marvel universe, can't undo a single death, not even when all the 6 Infinity Stones are brought together. But they can possibly shred all of the universe to mere atoms and can even make half of the living creatures vanish and then bring them back. But undoing a death is somehow beyond them. Isn't that a little convenient? Anyways, the answer that Infinity Stones can't reverse death explains why Captain Marvel and Thor didn't try to use the stones to bring back Tony. But here's the catch. We the audience know that Infinity Stones can't reverse death because the writers told us so. But the Avengers didn't know that. The death of Black Widow is different. That was a sacrifice for the Soul Stone, and Red Skull had made it very clear that the exchange for the Soul Stone was irreversible. But even then, Professor Hulk tried to bring her back. So in the case of Tony, they at least had to try. After all, Avengers don't just move on. In case you're wondering that the snap to bring back Tony would also reverse time and so bring back Thanos and all his army as well, then the answer is a simple no. When Hulk brought half of the people back, their return didn't reverse time. It just happened so that they appeared out of nowhere, just like they had vanished. So in no way the time was reversed. People did turn to dust and they were brought back, as simple as that. So if it was possible to bring back Tony with a snap, then he would simply be resurrected, just like Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. But now the question remains, did Avengers try it but we didn't see it play out on the screen? Did Captain Marvel or Thor actually put on a new gauntlet to bring Tony back? The most likely answer is that Avengers found out that Tony can't be resurrected. And in case you're wondering that how the heck they figured that out, then I have 2 words for you. Doctor Strange. He had possibly seen these things play out in one of his visions, and he knew that their efforts to bring Tony back would be a total waste. And so he would have advised the Avengers that risking their lives by putting on a new gauntlet would be futile and possibly even dangerous, considering there was a chance that they might bring Thanos back, as Thanos' death can definitely be reversed as he was killed by the stones. Now who wouldn't love to see Thor trying to bring Tony back, but instead he brings his worst nightmare, Thanos? That would be hilarious. But jokes aside, if in the MCU, Infinity Gauntlet can't undo a death, then Doctor Strange would have seen it and thus warned the Avengers. But what about using the Time Stone alone? Thanos did bring back Vision along with the Mind Stone, both of which were earlier destroyed by Scarlet Witch. Well, Vision was a superbot, and he was not exactly a living being, and same goes for the Mind Stone. But this is where things get interesting. Using the Time Stone to reverse time can indeed bring back dead people. Just rewatch the 3rd act of Doctor Strange movie, where a part of Hong Kong city is destroyed as Dormammu invades Earth. And I don't think Dormammu asked Caecilius to evacuate the city before he destroyed it. So just going by the magnitude of destruction, hundreds of people would have died. And when Doctor Strange uses the Time Stone to reverse time in the affected area, we see time flow backwards as the fallen buildings reconstruct themselves and people lying unconscious, if not dead, get back on their feet. And when the dust finally unsettles, we don't see any dead people, but everybody is alive and fine. And the fact that Time Stone can actually bring back dead people is proved explicitly as we see Wong return back to life. If the amount of debris hadn't killed him, then that thing through his chest must have. But as time reverses, we see him jump back to his feet and is back to the world of living, just like that. So yeah, Time Stone can bring dead people back, as we saw it happen in the Doctor Strange movie. So why not use the Time Stone to bring Tony back, since it's proven to work and Doctor Strange knows all about it. But here's the problem with using the Time Stone this way. It won't just bring Tony back. but also Thanos and all of his army, as Time Stone reverses the time in an area. In Infinity War, Thanos wasn't trying to bring back Vision, but only the Mind Stone, but Vision too came back just to be destroyed again. This is the fundamental difference between the Snap and the Time Stone. But as the writers said, that Snap can't undo deaths that weren't caused by their stones. So if Doctor Strange had used the Time Stone to bring back Tony, it would have also brought back Thanos, and then it would have been a kind of a loop. Since in only one of 14 million possibilities Avengers win, and for that to happen Tony has to put on the gauntlet. So even if Doctor Strange brought Tony back, it would be the same story all over again. And in case Avengers tried to do something different, then Thanos would win, as he wins in other 14,604 scenarios. I must say that Doctor Strange and his 14 million possibilities is a very convenient plot device, as it can be used to answer most of the why not questions. To conclude things, the writers of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame were not exactly right when they said that Infinity Stones can't bring back dead people, as Time Stone has been used by Doctor Strange to bring back dead Wong and possibly hundreds of other dead people. But in Avengers Endgame, Doctor Strange couldn't have used the Time Stone in the same way, as it would have brought back Thanos too. So yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments, out of those 14 million possibilities, which what if case would you like to see play out on the screen? And don't forget to subscribe to enter the giveaways.